Hey, this was your idea. You're in the seat, so you can't just give an idea and then go work. That's not how this whole.
No, I definitely want to get into this for sure. This is an area of improvement and opportunity for me.
All right, I like it. And if somebody else has, sorry, Holly, I was just going to say, if somebody else has strong, branding input or questions, please grab the other seat too. So, hey, Jonathan, I'm doing awesome. So, Holly, keep up with that one.
Having strong viewpoints in your business is super important because it's going to be what differentiates you from everybody else. And what basically it just sets you apart. So one of the strong viewpoints that I have in my business is when it comes to video that you're charging people for. I always say, if you're going to charge somebody money for what they are seeing, you should take the time to either invest in yourself so that you can produce a higher quality video that you're sharing with that audience, and or hire a professional to shoot and edit that video for you. One of those two things has to happen. If you are charging money for what people are seeing, meaning you're creating a course, you're going to be selling it to clients, they're going to be watching these videos. They do not want to watch you in your basement with horrible lighting and bad audio, all scrapped together. They're not really going to find value in that. And now they've given you money and invested time in you, and you've shown them that you don't care enough about them to invest in yourself.
I like that. What about recorded PowerPoints? Do you feel I need to be on camera for my whole presentation?
It depends on the content.
Oh, yeah, I have some feedback on that. So
okay.
I just watched a course that a friend of mine put together. Great course. She was doing like the little picture in the picture thing. And so she was narrating the slides from the little picture down the corner. But I know that many of the people who signed up for her course signed up partially because the course was kind of in the area of what they were looking for, but really because they're just big fans of her. And I felt, and I was a big fan of her too, so I felt like she should have had some more face time. Like, she stayed in the corner the whole time. So that was a mental note I made for me, so that when I'm developing my courses, that I kind of do have some time where I can just kind of be face to the camera and be present for the people who are there, because maybe they like me.
You know? They don't, Judd. Just get on that.
Maybe. And so I think that's important, to give the people what they came for, which is you and your content.
That's a good point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I couldn't agree more. And I was just going to say, Erin, if your audience is used to seeing you, like if you're always on Blab, you're always on Periscope, you are the face, voice of your business. If, just like Jed said, when they're paying for a course and they're expecting to get you and all they get is slides, there's a little bit of a disconnect there.
This is very good information, because I guess I don't think enough that, because a lot of mine are slides, but a lot of times in my courses, I'm showing, it's not even just a slide. I'm showing you how to do exact things behind the scenes. So there's no physical way I could talk you through it, but that would not be effective at all. Right. Like, you have to see
I'm
what
just
I'm
saying,
doing. But I know what you're saying. Yeah. No, I know what you're saying.
There's other ways to get FaceTime in the course without you having to try to explain something that you're demonstrating via PowerPoint. It could be with a welcome video, a thank you video, just videos of encouragement maybe scattered throughout the course, or check-in videos with just you like, hi, it's me. I'm just checking in with you guys. So make sure you leave a comment below if you're having questions or anything like that. Just stuff like that. It really kind of sets the tone.
Okay.
And it's great stuff, because I have not been through a course where I've seen anybody doing that.
And it stands out.
Myself included.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't even considered having a separate video in between the coursework, just to kind of be cheering you on. That's a great idea, Holly. Thank you.
Every once in a while, one of them spills out,
we can shut this puppy down. Yeah, or a live, like Leanne saying, a live Q&A. That's great too, and record that and stuff. I like that idea though.
Yeah.
Well, and Holly I'll give props to Holly on this one. We were talking about video on one of my podcasts. And I love too, like, instead of just a thank you page after they pay, send them a thank you video and say, all right, you guys, you're in. Here's what you can expect for next steps.
Absolutely. I think that is important.
Yeah. I like that one a lot.
Oh, thank you, Karen.
Yeah. Thank you, Karen. Okay. Jed, what would you say is your standout thing right now? Or what you stand for?
Well, that's what I'm here for. I got to find that out. I need people to tell me what is my standout thing, because that's my issue right now. Is that's my biggest area of improvement right now is to stand out and take a stand on certain issues. One of the issues I've been trying to take a stand on is this. People call it trolling, but I think it's online bullying. And I'm working with some people who are friends of mine to kind of develop some tips and best practices on how to kind of prevent that in your live streams, and and some actual direct actions that you can take when you see this happening. And our hashtag for that is "Don't Be Silent." And so if you want to ever search for that hashtag, that's probably where you'll find this info. And what we want to encourage people is to not be silent when they see that stuff happening, when they see that trolling taking place, because there's no real software tools that are helping with this right now. So the only thing we've got is each other. And so I'm trying to, but that's an issue. I don't know that I can't differentiate on that, because that's unrelated to my training and my speaking. So with my training and my speaking, the thing that I focus on is you've got to actually care and be interested in others and be interested in helping others. And although that's a nice, warm, fuzzy message, it doesn't stand out like in the other messages that are out there. My core platform is teaching people how to meet business objectives using social media. Again, another kind of bland topic, but one that's really needed in businesses today. And so I'm trying to find this area of differentiation where I can kind of put my stake in the ground and say, hey, this is why we're harping on this. I don't know if that's just finding some real world examples of people doing it right and wrong and praising those examples, or whether it's kind of coming up with some new nomenclature for best practices on social media. I don't know, but yeah, it's a problem for me, because I can't stick out and differentiate as well as I'd like.
Yeah.
There's definitely opportunities for you to really take advantage of the special uniqueness that you specifically bring and really kind of push that forward, as opposed to, yes, this is something that I do and maybe there's other people who do it, that sort of thing. There is no other Jed. There will never be another Jed.
Well, and it's like, so your core message, you're saying like you want people to care and be interested in others, but like, what's really your core, like, what are you trying to do with your business? What's your core thing you're trying to get across?
Yeah. So the core message is you've got to have, actionable goals that are driving your activities on social media.
Okay.
And that's basically what I teach in a nutshell. I teach people and businesses that, hey, before you start making posts on these social media platforms, you've got a business. The business has got some goals and objectives. You've got to figure out which of those business goals and objectives are going to be advanced using social media, and then set those as specific targets so that when you get on social media, you're not spinning your wheels and wasting your time. Because so many people come to me frustrated that, hey, I've spent all this time and energy on social media. I've never seen anything come out of it. Social media is a waste of time. Well, that's because they were out on social media not knowing what the hell they were trying to accomplish, and they were just posting stuff on there thinking they were going to get some big following. And we all know how that ends up.
What's up?
What's up, Brian?
What's up, Brian Fanzo?
Were your ears ringing? We were just talking about
I know
I just got off ranting on Periscope, so I was promoting my blab, my No Let Up blab, and I clicked on it. I saw you three on the thing. I was like, I'm ending this Periscope early.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I love it. We're talking. Yeah,
about
go ahead.
Standing out, and differentiating yourself and what you do. And I was just complaining to Aaron and Holly that, look, that's a big issue for me. And so I'm waiting for them to give me some really sage advice so that I can.
So wait, standing out from what? What do you mean by standing out?
Well, you have a platform, right? And so your personality helps you stand out in the way that you take a stand on a lot of issues and that you're really emphatic about a lot of the topics that you're talking about. And so I need to start becoming more emphatic about some of these topics that I have a strong feeling on.
So can I challenge you a little bit on that? Can I challenge?
I hope so. I hope you can.
So why do you feel like you aren't standing out now? Because I would say since the first time you kind of came on my radar, I don't think it was because of live streaming, but sometime in this space, I believe you probably added more value to my community. And I've looked at you from someone that I just connected with to thinking of you as a thought leader in many topics in a very fast-paced scale way that I think others would kill to have. So I guess from my opinion, I actually think you do an amazing job of standing out in the sense of not only always adding value, but you support so many different things and you're kind of involved and you're a leader already doing it in a business sense. Like, so I guess from my view, I look at it as saying there's lots of people that are adding to the noise. I don't think you ever add to the noise. And I don't buy into it because people have broke me down for a while telling me that I need to find a niche. I can't create a podcast about more than one topic. Everything, Brian, you need to find one thing to be really good at. I've bucked that trend every time. I love being a generalist. The reason my podcast is called Smack Talk and it stands for Social, Mobile, Analytics, and Cloud is because I refuse to do a podcast about just one of them. Yeah. So for me, I don't think you need a niche. I think what ends up happening, and a good example, I was at IBM event, 14,000 people at this IBM event. I was by far not on the totem pole, but the senior VP of IBM, one of the top 1% of that entire company, gives me a shout out on stage. And he's like, I just want to thank everybody coming, thank the influencers. I saw my friend Brian Fanzo, better known as iSocial Fans, in the front row there, always rocking the hat because he's going to be himself. And to me, it was like the validation of what I stand out is because I listen and learn from all those people, but I try really hard to always be myself. And I think that ends up being the long game. And I don't think it's easy, but I think that's kind of how I stand out, even more so than kind of taking if you guys watched my Periscope I just did, I had to text Vincenzo afterwards and be like, dude, I love you, man. But like, I completely disagreed. Like I was talking about Facebook Notify app and I took a stance that I think it's completely complete miss. I hate it. Last thing I needed was another Facebook app and more.
I'm with you on that.
I am with you on that.
Yeah.
And all you do when you open the app is sign up for like random notifications from these.
And you know what I did? I did a little bit of my own research. I was like, well, why are these the ones that are picked? Because there's not any good content on there. It's not anything like I thought it was gonna get like Snapchat content, like some really.
Like I need to sign up for BuzzFeed, notifications. Are you
like they're not already on my Facebook news feed like all day long. But anyhow, that's a whole different thing. But I think part of it ends up being, finding out not only what your stance is, but I think standing out. I think Jed, maybe for you, I think it's actually telling your story about the business you're building. Because I remember when we were sitting. Where was it? In DC when we had like we were hanging out. I never had to do like the podcast. I had to do the show from like the lobby. You and I were sitting together and I learned so much about your business and more about what you've grown and how you're empowering college students to actually have an input and be involved in their community. I mean, I think that's freaking genius. And I had no idea. I'd known you for a while. I didn't know that was your business. So like, I guess my advice would be, I think you're doing a great job of standing out. I think now's the time where you start putting it a little bit underlying and saying, hey, you guys know what I'm doing? Do you know what my full-time business is? It's not just a blab and help everybody out. I'm doing awesome things in this business. I'm also going to colleges and talking about, employee advocacy and the value of social media. And it's a localized community, even though social media seems like a global thing. I mean, those are the things to me that I learned about you that made me like you and be more of your, cheerleader than anything else. And I think that would be my best advice. I don't know what the ladies think.
No, I agree because the comments are coming in where everybody likes you, but they're like, okay, if I wanted to send business your way, if I wanted to hire you, what do I hire you for? You know what I mean? And I think that's where you have to get stronger in your messaging of this is what you do. You need to set some social media goals and figure out how to do this right. I'm your guy. I think when people are saying to you, I'm not quite like, we all know Holly's the video girl. We know Brian, he does many things, but live streaming right now is like, you know, you hire Brian to help with live streaming. I sometimes struggle with this too. When I get people saying, what do you do exactly? I'm like, that's not a good question anybody should be asking you. And I think that's a really good insight that you got to be a lot more clear. And I think that's where you are kind of right now too. A lot of people love you. You have a great message, but they're unclear about what exactly you do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's probably, I mean, I get that. You go to my website right now, you don't know what services you're actually buying from Brian Fanzo at my website. And trust me, there's a whiteboard right there that has broken down. So it's something that I'm well aware of in the same sense. But I actually think from your perspective, I think a lot of, and this is just me guessing, is I think a lot of it, less of it is lead gen. And you have a business that's growing. You want people to know about it. I think part of that also comes into the content you create, like the input that you're always adding. I think telling your story, even if it's written somewhere, doing a little bit more in that space, to where I can share Jed Records advice, not just promote and talk about you and your awesomeness on live streaming that I learned from you and all these things. But I think I'm the anti-content blogger because I really struggle at blogging. It takes me way longer than it should to write a blog post. It's just like,
yeah, you and me both.
Yeah. Hey, trust me. And you know what? I'm on week 3. So week 4 is when I will provide the white paper on what I've learned. But I'm doing an embed of every single one of my Periscopes. So I do 2 paragraphs, and I'm embedding my Periscope. And I do it on Medium, my blog, and LinkedIn Pulse. And I've been doing it for 3 weeks. I'm going to do it for 4. I'm going to do a survey afterwards. I want to see what the value has been, what my share has been, how that has kind of played on that side. But I would love to be able to share the Jed Records story to maybe my audience that isn't on Blab or isn't seeing your Periscope. So, look at there's Bryn Drescher's in the house right now. She was just in my Periscope rant. But yeah, I love the topic though, because our topic for No Let Up this today at 3 is being you, and what Ted and I kind of learned on that side and the focus on that side. I mean, I think there's so much noise. And live streaming, let's be honest, it just added to the noise. But the nice part, I think, is the people that are great on live stream, the people that are in here that are getting, that are adding value to the community, those people are going to, their tide's going to continue to rise. And all these people that have hid behind, I just post 7 days, weeks worth of content. I'm full of crap, but I'm content is king. Those are the people that are going to all of a sudden disappear. And I don't care what your SEO value is. No one's going to have a relationship, or you're not going to stand out from the noise. And that's kind of that's why I love YouTube and I love video and I love the power of what we're able to do, because we can stand out on this platform, but it does take a crap load of work, you guys know.
Absolutely, yeah.
No, it takes a lot of work. Fryer was asking you a question, and Jed, since you're positioning yourself here, let's throw this one to you. So what type of social media milestone should up-and-comers aim for? This is your platform right here.
Well, of course, the answer always comes back to, what are your goals and what are you trying to do? And a lot of people tell me the goals that they have for social media before they tell me the goals that they have for their business or for, what their company is trying to achieve. And so basically you just need to look at social media, and I hear, I hear this repeated all the time. It's just a platform. It's just a communication channel. It's exciting. It's full of potential, but you've got a business to run. I've got a business to run. I do a lot of trainings on a regular basis. I speak at a number of different types of events and companies. And as Brian mentioned, I also run a digital agency that's empowering students to manage social media for businesses. And so my goals in those 3 businesses are different. And so I work to accomplish those differently through social media. But to personalize it to example for me is I am a trainer, and I train corporates on how their employees can use social, both in a marketing sense, but also I work with companies that are trying to kind of engage their workforce more using social media. And so my goal there is to let more companies know that. And so when I take that goal and apply it on social media, then I say, okay, well, I need to build awareness for who I am and the fact that I am a trainer and a speaker. And so I do that using some of the channels that have been successful to me in the past, like Twitter, and on Blab. Believe it or not, I was slow to embrace Blab. I was fast to be on the platform, but slow to embrace it as like, this is a legit marketing platform, because I didn't like the reach initially. I didn't like the fact that, there's only on average, maybe 20, if you're lucky, 50 people in a Blab. That's not a big reach. I reach 50 to 70,000 people on my Twitter account. That's a lot more intriguing to me. And with a Twitter chat like Brian's SBiz Hour, you can get hashtags that are having impressions in the millions. So for brands and me, I really like broad reach, like impressions in the millions. But in Blab, we've been able to see a lot of sharing on Twitter that has really expanded the reach of these Blabs. And I've been shocked at the replays. I never thought people would watch replays of live discussions. To me, that would be boring as heck. But people actually are watching them.
And Blab did a good job of repurposing it now with their new layout on our profile pages. If you saw that this morning.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
They fixed the layout. I like how you can upload the card. Actually, I will, Jetta, I like what you were saying there, but I think, I guess for me, it's interesting because you have a bigger following on Twitter than I do. And I love Twitter. I mean, Twitter has changed my life. But I will say, in a weird sense, Twitter has allowed people to find me. The other platforms allow people to get to know me and want to do business and become friends with me.
Absolutely. Twitter is awareness only. I don't try and do anything more than just make people aware that I am alive. And I try to right now I'm on a little Snapchat kick and
I love it. I love it. You kill it.
I like having on my profile picture, which I don't have at the moment, but I like having the topics that I'm focused on that I can help people with right on my profile picture, not necessarily just in my bio, but on the profile picture itself. So people very quickly can say, okay, this is what this guy is about.
Well, you know what? That's something you do great on. And Holly, funny you said that. And I think, Aaron, you were in the Blab last night with Joel and everybody not understanding Snapchat. But get this, I signed my biggest speaking gig this Monday of this week, and it's via Snapchat. Crazy.
Wow.
I'm sold.
I really
I'm sold.
Besides turning myself into a hamster face, which is super fun, but like I just don't get it.
Well, Joel explained some stuff last night, and I get it now. I get it. My thing is, and it's intimidating that I look at like the Food Network and I'm like, oh my God, this is like amazing. Can I compete with the Food Network? You know what I mean? It's like, theirs are so cool that I'm like, hey, here's my kids, So it's like, I'm trying to figure out what I can do that's Snapchat good.
Like Brian mentioned, Aaron, Twitter is an awesome discovery platform. And then like the one of the best strategies you can have on social right now is move people around the platforms, get them to learn different things about you. If you come to my Instagram, you'll see that I'm kind of a picture buff. I love taking pictures.
You're quite a photographer, I must add.
Thank you. If you come to my Facebook, you'll see other interactions with me. And as we've been doing lately, experimenting and working with Snapchat, you'll get to see the behind the scenes me. You'll get to see a little more of my sense of humor. You'll get to see, where I live or where I work and little snippets of what I'm up to. And like Brian said, Snapchat is an amazing platform at drawing people closer and building deeper relationships. And now I get people who I don't know if I even met them on any other platform. I think they saw that I had a Snapchat account on my Twitter and kind of took their phone, and added me. And now they send me direct messages on Snapchat saying, hey, I saw you here. That was really cool. Hey, this is what I'm doing today. Like just starting to share their life with me, and it's really cool.
I'm gonna break Snapchat down a little bit because I'm building a keynote for it because I'm actually the think like a fan aspect is kind of going in, and it's exactly what Jed's saying, and I relate it to how many people believe that email marketing is the best, right? That email marketing works like a charm. Well, Brian Fanzo did not believe, and I didn't believe it, and I've been proven wrong, and now I'm a believer. But I started to figure out. I said, what is email marketing? Why do people love it? Why is it such valuable, right? And I share a ton of content. I post about what I'm doing everywhere. And everyone still doesn't know what I'm doing because they're not everywhere. They're not spending their whole day looking around. And for me, I put a poll out to my email newsletter community, which is very small. I just started building it out. I said, what do you want to see? Do you want my curated content? They said, I want to know what Brian Fanzo is doing. And to me, I'm like, what? I post that everywhere. But they replied back very simply. Well, I can't know where you're everywhere. And if I wanted to pick one thing that Brian Fanzo is doing, I want to be able to see all that you're doing for a week and then make my decision. And I actually think Snapchat gives you that because Snapchat is acquired attention, and you get to choose who you consume and how you get it. And I actually liked it before when you took your finger off, it actually stopped playing. But I understand why they got rid of that. Understandable. But for me, I actually scan my Snapchat feed, and when I hold the button down on Snapchat, they have my attention, and I am completely in. Jed yesterday was giving a shout out to Opera Americano. I love her content. She is an amazing, talented creator on that platform. She does work with brands. She's been on Disney, worked with Red Bull, worked with Hershey's. But what I love about Snapchat is you acquire my attention and the respawn back. It's a one-to-many and a one-to-one back. And there is no social platform that when someone direct messages me, DM on Twitter, LinkedIn, or email, I will reply back to a Snapchat personalized better than any of those other three platforms. From a one-to-one perspective, that to me is the winner. And the speaking gig, someone followed me, heard me talking about Snapchat on a Periscope. They didn't even follow me on Twitter, they told me later on. They're like, hey, you're on Snapchat, I want to follow you on Snapchat. Started seeing me talk about my kids. I went on a little rant about speaking and how I want to disrupt the speaking industry, and I'm excited about connecting the digital community with the offline community. I think events for the longest time feel like when they get butts in seats that they only care about the butts in seats, they don't care about the digital. And the person literally snapped me and said, here's my email address. Can you give me your email address? I'm hiring you for my event. I'm adding a slot to my event in March to bring you in to speak. And that was via Snapchat. And to me, I go back and reverse engineer and go, well, how did they not know who I was on Twitter? Like, what am I doing wrong on Twitter? But that's just me being like kind of a perfectionist. But I guess that's my sales pitch on Snapchat. I'm gonna give that presentation next week at one of the events because it is like kind of email marketing where you're getting people the content and allowing them to consume it and getting their attention where they like to be. Because I hate email and I hate email newsletters. If you guys saw, I unsubscribed from 1,792 email newsletters 2 weeks ago because I was the guy that signed up for everything. And I realized that I only really 8 to 10 email newsletters every time it comes out. So I unsubscribed from every one of them to start over again. But to me, that's the relationship between email marketing and Snapchat is it's acquired attention, it's real, it's raw, and it's one-to-one when it comes to engagement. I love the people that are on there. Kristen Cardos is in here. Kristen Cardos is a rock star. She's one of my favorite people I've ever met thanks to Twitter. But even getting a sneak peek into her life and how her and her husband are bikers. And I love her husband. Shout out to Veterans Day week. Her husband's a Marine. And, getting to know them more, understanding what her life is and how she has all these amazing people that are bikers. And bikers get a bad name. And you think of Sons of Anarchy and they're running drugs. And these people are raising money for the homeless and helping charities. And I'm able to get that because of Snapchat, right? And I think that's the kind of stuff that is this think like a fan. Like, give people insights. Aaron, I love you, behind the scenes of your podcast, understanding what you're doing on that side. Holly, the creator side, I think there's nothing more powerful than a creator's behind the scenes. I told Amy Schmittauer this every time. I want her to Periscope an entire Monday. I want to know what Amy's Mondays are like. She does all of her content, our videos on Mondays. I want that. I want to learn from her. Yeah, exactly. And to me, that's the essence of what real social is let me learn and get a sneak peek to learn about you more, right?
See, but I do that. I do my little sneak peeks and the behind the scenes stuff on Periscope because I am still so I hear what you're saying about Snapchat and I appreciate it and I think it's great for you, but I still just don't understand. I need like a Snapchat like schooling, I guess. I don't even know how to follow people. I'm like trying to follow people. I don't know where to find them. I don't know how to tell people to follow me. Like I just totally like. And there's not a lot of things that confuse me, Brian. This is just one of them.
Well, you know what? You're not alone because the UI, everything that Snapchat was built is not native to anything that we were used to as social media power users. I like to say it's a Tinder-based platform, right? So it's swiping up, swiping down. The only way that people can find you, there's no real search unless you're in my contacts or you know my username. There's no real like dynamic. I can't search by keywords or tags. But actually, that's what part of what makes it awesome is that there isn't an easy button to grow your followers. When I'm talking to someone that's getting paid $100,000 a quarter to do Snapchats and they only have 2,000 people following on Snapchat, I'm like, wow, really? And they're like, yeah, but those 2,000, of their 2,000 followers, 1,800 of them watch every single snap. So look at that.
Wow.
You can't get that percentage anywhere. And I mean, from a brand, why would you not like, hey, Red Bull, sponsor this person. They don't even drink a Red Bull in the commercial. They don't even put Red Bull product placement. But the whole Red Bull theme of the week is something like, get out of the house. And so they do an entire Snapchat story of what it takes them to get out of the house. And like they're running into the window and, then they can't open the door and they forgot their keys. And it's funny. And you're like, it kind of gets that momentum going. And then Red Bull does one similar. And it's kind of like, hey, there's lots of people doing around the same topic. And that's why, I mean, I think you're right. I think that we do need like a Snapchat mastermind for all of us that are masterminds on all of the other social platforms because it's so weird that, I mean, I wrote a blog post December of 2014, so not even a year ago, that called Snapchat the dumbest platform ever. And I thought that they were idiots for not getting bought out by Facebook, and I couldn't even find value in it. And then I found out about how much money all these influencers are getting paid, and I'm like, something's wrong. So I spent 2 months, and there's a podcast. If you guys want to listen to a podcast that does it's a very unknown podcast, but a great podcast that really talks about the creators and a lot about Snapchat. It's called The Creators Class. It's Nick Cicero and Nick Robinson, The Creators Class. And I'm not saying that because I was a guest on one of the shows, but I actually, like, their first 4 episodes are Snapchat creators. You hear the one person say they've only given access to the Disney World parks after hours to 5 non-Disney employees. He was one of them.
Wow.
He did a week storyboard to build out a behind-the-scenes Snapchat story at Disney, and he's a creator, and he's getting paid boatloads of money to do it. And that podcast, all they do is interview him and so it's called The Creators Class. But yeah, Nick Robinson, who's works for SAP, and then Nick Cicero owns a company called Del Mundo. He's a good friend of mine, but it's a great podcast. It's what really turned me from going, well, crap, I think my blog post was wrong. So then I downloaded Snapchat again, and that's why I've been on the Snapchat kick, and it was really just from that side.
I think we're getting convinced.
Yeah, and I noticed there was a question in the comments, and then this is kind of derailed to a Snapchat conversation, but there's some questions in the comments about how do you measure the performance on Snapchat. That is a tough question that companies are still trying to figure out. I would say Nick and Del Mundo are kind of at the forefront of that. There's another company out there.
Snapchat Analytics.
Narrative is a company that's got some proprietary app that's measuring performance. But really what companies are doing right now is they're just getting their influencers to screenshot their view counts on their phones. So they do a snap story and then screenshot the view counts afterwards. And one of the measuring stats for success would be the finishing rate of a story. So if you've got a series of snaps, that's maybe 3 to 5 snaps or 3 to 5 videos on Snapchat. The first one will be your baseline. So you have 50 people or 5,000 people watch the first snap in the series. And then the finishing rate, if you get like a 60 to 80% finishing rate, that is 60 to 80% of those watch the last snap in the story, then that's a pretty successful piece of content.
Well, you know what? Something that's really cool about this is, I think it's David. This is David. David Cho wrote really. I love his question. Do you see senior execs joining Snapchat? And I'm gonna put this very simply. It's because it's something that I'm really passionate about with Periscope. I don't give a crap, because here's the reason I don't give a crap.
Yeah, it's not about
the crazy part is I target a lot of CIOs and CMOs, but guess who I care about? Who they're influenced by. And I will go back to the bank every single day. I don't need the exec that has the final approval to be on Periscope. I need the people that he listens to and is influenced by to be on my Periscopes. So I don't care about the executive. I care about the biggest. And I use this every time. You guys have probably heard it, but who's the biggest influencers for 35 to 45-year-old women for clothing purchases? 13 to 17-year-old girls, because moms listen to their daughters. And their daughters are the ones that help them select clothing. Therefore, when you're building a Pinterest campaign for 35 to 45-year-old women, you're actually targeting 13 to 18-year-old girls. That, to me, is the essence of why we have to relook at who we care about being on platform. I don't need someone to be on Twitter all day. That's a CIO because he's too damn busy, right? But I need his social army of the people that he actually listens to, his trust bank, people that are in his circle. If they're on there, if they're on my Snapchat, even the person who ended up hiring me for the speaking gig, I guarantee, I probably could go back and ask them because I'm going to add a quote to my blog post. I guarantee they probably don't have the budget or the authorization for the final trigger. But they probably showed the Snapchat, or from the Snapchat went and got the validation and came back and told me that it was bought in. So that's kind of my answer to that. But I love David. David's a social CIO, so I know he's helping executives kind of become a little bit more social. But I've kind of taken a new approach to that.
Yeah, and I think that's an important piece that people don't consider enough is who are the people impacting the purchasing decisions. And it's not just for CIOs, but if your customer, like you said, if your customer is a soccer mom, or if your customer is a solopreneur, who are influencing their decision making, and that's an important thing for you to keep in mind.
So let me ask you guys this, because you have a lot of insight. So as someone starting out and they're trying to put together this campaign, obviously, where would they go to find that kind of data and information to say, you know what, I need to approach that? I think that's where a lot of people get stuck, is they go with what they can immediately find. Where do you guys, obviously hiring somebody is the best answer, right? But in the in-between phase. You mean,
and for finding who influences the influencer, or what?
Yeah. Like, if I had that.
It's about knowing your customer.
Yeah, I go to where.
What you always preach on, Aaron. That's what you
always I know you need to know your customer. I know that. But if you, like, to Brian's point, I think is perfect. I know my customer. I know that she's from 35 to 45. If I'm making clothes for her, I would argue, if I dig deep and know my customer starting out, especially, that her 13-year-old's making the clothing decisions for her. I think that'd be a big ass leap of faith if I had no stats behind that to guess.
Well, so what I love to do is I believe you listen to where they're playing. So if they're your customer, they're your target, even if they're not on social, this is a big piece for me. Like, I had a CEO and I was like, man, I can't get him to buy in on social employee advocacy. He just would not buy in. He's like, he's like, the only platform I use is LinkedIn, and he wasn't really good on LinkedIn. So what I started doing was like, what magazines do you subscribe to? Who's your favorite authors? And I started to listen. I'm like, oh, wait, you read all these people's books. I'm like, oh, what content do you read? Oh, my favorite blog is by these 3 people. I was like, well, crap. So what I ended up doing was then going and studying what those 3 people did, used them as examples and resources, and went back and pitched and said, if you love these people, they're great on these platforms, you need to invest in me. And I do that same thing from an influencer perspective. If someone is only on LinkedIn and you want to know who their influencers are on Twitter, what content do they like? Go to their LinkedIn account, click on recent activity, and go down and say, wait a second, they're liking everything Vala Afshar is posting. Well, Vala Afshar is big on Twitter. Well, now I'm gonna go look at what Vala Afshar is posting on Twitter. Who's Vala? One of my favorite tools is BuzzSumo. I want to know when I strategically target somebody, I use BuzzSumo and LiveIQ, and they're expensive tools. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but social listening, I listen to what they're not saying, right? The actions, because every digital action is a story you're telling, and what groups they belong to. If all of a sudden they're not big on Twitter, they're not big on all these platforms, but they're big on they belong in a LinkedIn group called CIO Online, right? And they're part of the CIO Online LinkedIn group. I'm going to add myself to that group and say, who on there are they engaging? And all of a sudden I realize they're engaging David Cho, who's here on our show. Then I'm going to follow David Cho on Twitter, and I'm going to all of a sudden be on his radar. I'm going to share every piece of content that guy has. And I'm not sharing it to get noticed by the guy that I was stalking on LinkedIn. I'm sharing it to build a rapport with David, because when David needs to be vouching for someone and David's posting that LinkedIn group and they say, who the hell knows live streaming for technology companies? David, without missing a beat, says Brian Fanzo. And because he's the trusted influencer of that guy I was targeting, guess who gets the call? And that's how I do it. I'm huge. I don't need them to come to me. I'm gonna go where they're at. If they're big on Facebook, Insta, I don't even care if they're big online. Like figure out what books when you go in their office, what books are on their behind their head, or just ask, right? Like who do you listen to? What do you listen to a podcast? I mean, podcasts could tell you. I mean, don't get me started on that. I mean, you guys know that. I think podcasts tell us more about what kind of content we want and what kind of what our vision is on consuming and taking action than anything else. I mean, if you listen to podcasts in your ear every single day, the influence that a podcast has on somebody is freaking amazing. It's so damn powerful. So sorry, that's a really long rant, but I love this question because I believe influencer marketing is so wrong today because they really target only the guys that have 400,000 followers. The reason Gary Vaynerchuk followed me on Twitter had nothing to do with me and Gary Vaynerchuk's engagement. It had everything to do with me being extremely involved and engaged with his entire team and supporting and promoting content. And all of a sudden, Brock and all these guys started sharing my content. They were sharing my content, and Gary was only following 4,000 people when he followed me, right? And all of a sudden, of those 4,000 he's following, he's seeing my content shared by his people. Well, then all of a sudden he's going to take notice. I didn't have to, because he not only mentions Gary V gets every minute probably. You don't target an influencer by targeting them. I think that's the old game. You build a community and you target who they're listening to, and that's kind of how I kind of go about it.
So you're saying this takes work?
A little bit. Yeah.
Damn it! Yeah, overnight success and easy button are the two things that if I had them, I would never tell you, and I would sell them for a crap load of money. But it's definitely, there's no easy button, that's for sure.
We have to be on your list to buy that, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna send his one email.
Yeah. And I'm bad too. I think I finally have someone that's gonna be helping me with my email marketing because I love it. I have I'm so blessed. I have an amazing open rate, and I've only done 10 emails, or 10 weeks worth of emails, but the open rate is like beyond awesome. And I don't even know, I can't even figure out how to like capitalize on it because I'm just blown away that people wanted my email. Like, I'm like, I know, I'm lucky you even follow me on Twitter. I post too much. But the fact that you're
what's your frequency for your emailing, Brian?
So I originally was doing once a week. And I haven't been really good on that because the last 2 weeks I haven't done anything because literally the solopreneur life has taught me that the only reason it's called solopreneur is because you think you're on your own, but if you're not outsourcing, you're going to run a very rampant, horrible pace. And I am that guy right now that I've dropped the ball in like 5 different arenas now being on my own. And it's mainly just because I haven't figured out how to outsource, and that's going to change. But yeah, I want to do it. I'm going to end up doing it twice a week. So I'm going to end up doing it a Sunday that gives a preview of what I'm doing for the week, and then a Wednesday with all of the content that I found that was valuable for the week. And people can sign up for one or both. It's very much on a couple of my favorite. Scott Monty has a great newsletter. Ted Rubin has a great newsletter. Jay Baer and the Convince team does a great newsletter. And so a lot of those ones, Chris Brogan, and I like how they kind of mix it up. So, and this is just me off the cuff. I have literally my strategy on email marketing is I'm going to fail the hell out of it really quickly. I'm going to try all kinds of things. I've done videos. I've done Periscope embeds. I'm going to try. I'm going to do exclusive ones. I'm going to let people sign up for, so if they want me to do an exclusive Periscope, and I'll select their name out of the private Periscope and do a private one for if you're on my email newsletter. Just try things like that. Because to me,
that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've been growing my brand without an email newsletter up until I signed up for MailChimp in June for my personal. Now, granted, I built a really strong email newsletter with 4 companies that I worked on, and I understand that. I built out Marketo campaigns. It's not that I didn't know email marketing. I never saw value in it from a personal brand perspective, and it wasn't because I didn't subscribe to a bunch of them. Because afterwards, when I started getting and I give a lot of shout out to Subi Zimmerman's team, Rachel on Subi Zimmerman's team. Blew me up one day, like literally gave me a swift kick in the pants and called me out and was like, what email marketing was. And she's like, treat it like your new social media platform. She's like, you grow your social media platforms better than anyone out there. Treat your email marketing like one. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, I could see why that matters. And then that's kind of got me where I'm at now. But yeah, it's an interesting game and I think Snapchat's the same way. Building your Snapchat following is not easy. Putting out there that, I believe consistency. We were talking about, how to stand out online, and consistency. You cannot underline consistency enough. Every platform be easy to be found. And I recommend first name, last name. I also recommend just don't practice what I preach, not what I do. But I think that part of it makes it really hard, right? Because if it's not the same as your Twitter account, people are trying to find you on Snapchat. They're gonna put your Twitter account in there. It's not gonna be on there, and that's the last time they're gonna search because they can't even search like for your name as a whole. So I had someone request me yesterday, and I snapped them back, and I was like, I'm getting 40 Snap requests a day. I don't know who you are, but I couldn't tell by your username, and it's someone that I've followed for like 2 years. I'm like, you need to go back, delete your Snapchat account, start a new one with a new username, because I was like, you would have sat in this like giant bank of, and this is going to sound really bad, but this is my bank of people that are not. These are all these Snapchat requests that like I don't even know who they are. They don't have a good picture. Their username doesn't tell me anything. So they're just going to sit in my. I'm not adding them back, and most people know I'm a big fan of adding back on Twitter because I believe, how do I know if you're going to be valuable to me unless I follow you? Snapchat's a little different. I have to figure out who the heck you are because let's just say there is a little bit of some of the rumors or bad nomor or some of the stuff of snapping nude pictures and snapping hate or propaganda. That does exist on every platform, and it does exist on Snapchat. And I unfortunately have followed some people and then was like, where did that come from? That wasn't what I projected. But yes, you learn quickly. Kristen Cardos is right. You learn quickly.
Which brings us full circle.
No, I'm just looking at my Snapchat. I did the Starters Club, but I'm the Starters Club everywhere. So that's the only reason why I did.
Look at that. Bryn just followed me right now. Thanks, Bryn.
Mine is some random name so nobody could find me.
Well, and so was mine.
Well, I was testing it and playing around.
Mine was random too, and I actually built up a pretty good following on that random one.
Yeah.
And I was even like engaging with some of the people that I was targeting. But then I end up, the only way you can, on Snapchat, the only thing you can do is delete and start over.
Yeah.
And mine, then I created one with my original Twitter handle, which was @social_fans.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew that one fairly decent before I was like, I can't preach consistency and be the _ one. And so I deleted that one again. So this is like my 4th Snapchat account this year, but it's @socialfans now. So it's definitely a different one.
Perfect. Awesome. We originally started this conference. I love the hot topics for online entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for being here, Brian. Thank you so much for being here, Jed. What Aaron and I had in mind when we started this show was to talk about it started off as like a hot seat topic thing where we would help people come in, they would hot seat and questions, and then it organically turned into hot topics for online entrepreneurs because we just happened to organically just start talking about what was going on in our businesses. And this week was all about differentiating yourself by having a viewpoint, a strong viewpoint, something not riding the fence, not being vanilla. And I think there is no one who does it better than Brian. He always has a viewpoint and isn't afraid to share it and isn't afraid to tell you. And, has a, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but understands that if he does say something and has a change of heart or a change of mind about it, is not afraid to be like, hey, listen, I said this and it's totally fine. And now I'm saying this and this is why. And I think being that way in your business and having strong viewpoints and standing for something is super important in differentiating yourself from everybody else. Don't ride the fence. I don't want to watch somebody, listen to somebody, follow somebody, get email newsletters from somebody who's just riding the fence and filling me full of white fluff that means nothing to me. I want to hear something strong, a viewpoint, something that may be a little controversial. Don't be afraid to have an opinion. Don't be afraid to share your opinion. If you know that something isn't right within your little world or your business and people are, say something.
Right.
Say something.
Well,
yeah, and having a viewpoint and opinion on something gives you an opportunity to showcase your passion, right? It gives you an opportunity to show that you have passion about a topic. And that's a really important thing, because if you're not going to draw a line or if you're not going to have an opinion on a particular topic, then you're going to come off as somebody who's not really passionate about anything. And that's a killer. You've got to showcase where you're passionate about things and what things get you excited, because that's what gets other people excited about you.
And everybody, people follow you for you. And I say that every time, right? Like, and I put those books behind me, Jab, 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 Right Hook, and Utility, Jay Barry and Gary Vaynerchuk, a huge influence on my strategy, my philosophy. The interesting part was when I tell people that, I have people that come back to me 6 months later and say, Brian, I've been doing everything that Jab, 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 Right Hook does to a T, exactly like Gary Vaynerchuk is saying and telling me to do, and I can't stand out from the noise. And I was like, well, unless you're going to be bigger, louder, and more places than Gary Vaynerchuk, you're not. You're supposed to listen and learn and then add yourself, because that's the only unique piece that you can add. And I think that's where people forget. Like, yes, you must learn from all opportunities. You must listen and support all people. But the only way you stand out is by being yourself and adding your own insight. And Holly, thank you so much for saying that comment about kind of admitting when you're wrong time, because I would say this openly, and we were talking about this for kids side with Mitch Jackson last week. I think we're living in a very transparent culture. And people are right now in this weird spot where it's like, 4 years ago, you didn't want a keg stand on your Facebook page because you were afraid you weren't going to get hired, right? But then you think of it, and I use that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Well, no, trust me, there's plenty. But I use the story all the time. The FBI had to change their policy in 2005 to not prevent anybody who would ever smoke pot to be an FBI agent, because they ran out of people to actually bring in an FBI agent. So they had to say, if you had never dealt pot, right? Like, so they changed their, I've had a polygraph because I had to do it through the Department of Defense. But this to me is what we're changing, what failure, transparency, and people who are people, we're changing what that means. And so for me, being boisterous and being passionate about what my opinion is, it allows me to be myself, but it also, at the exact same time, it allows me to know that if I'm wrong, if I fail, if I screw up, I'm going to openly admit that, because if I'm that passionate about my point of view, I have to be that passionate about admitting when I'm wrong, I'm going in the wrong way. Because the people that are doing it the other way, I know everything, and as soon as I realize I'm wrong, I'm going to continue to act like I know everything, or I always use this, I will put the apology on the back page of the newspaper where nobody reads it, but yet the article when I was screaming from the top of the roof that, Periscope is dead, it was on the front page. My apology goes on the back page. I think those are the people that are no longer authentic. They're just fake and trying to be boisterous for being boisterous' sake. And I love that. That's why I support so many great people that aren't afraid to be passionate, fail, admit when you're wrong, and then be passionate again, because that's the scary part. If you fail and and you say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I wrote a blog post. Guy Kawasaki was like, I'm like, I looked up to him. I built my career after Guy Kawasaki and what he did at Apple. I had my dream job was a technology evangelist. I became a technology evangelist at my company. And then I wrote a blog post saying that Guy Kawasaki was an idiot for posting the same tweets during all 4 time zones. And I mean, it's out there. If you search my YouTube, I even did a YouTube video and like saying, Guy, I love you. I read your books. It makes no sense. All you're doing is adding to the noise. We're all not like you. You're disconnected. And then 3 or 4 months later, I created a great relationship with a couple people in Australia and in the Middle East. And they said, well, Brian, you don't share any of your content overnight. We don't really get to see a lot of your stuff. And I said, why don't you start sharing overnight? And I started scheduling my buffer overnight. And then I went, oh, crap. And so what I did, I have a video. So if you search Guy Kawasaki and Brian Fanzo, there's Guy Kawasaki, you're an idiot. And then there's Guy Kawasaki, I apologize, I was wrong. And, and like to me,
that's awesome.
I put it in the same platform, in the same piece, because not only does it, why would, if I'm that boisterous to call somebody out, I sure as hell couldn't go back and start doing what I was calling him out on without putting it out there that it's wrong. So I think
absolutely, and I think that speaks volumes about your character, and also lets people know that you're going to stand for something, you're going to apologize if you're wrong, and then that helps people get to know, like, and trust you.
Exactly.
If you're just being a human being, you're like, okay, great, I love it, I'm getting the chills.
No, I love sharing where I screw up. I don't know why. I just I really do. Like yesterday, I did a whole scope on this investment that I made that is like going. I don't even want to say awry. It is going like haywire. And I share the story like, learn from my lessons. And that was my thing. It's like, listen, before you get a partnership, before you do this, learn from my lessons. And I think too, I have to practice what I preach and go start your business. Like. And I want to, off the rails is a better description, but I want to share people too. Like I got the sweetest email from Jonathan. He's follows me and he's like, you just what you're talking about. He's like, you're getting hit left and right. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of am getting hit left and right now, but you know what? It's okay. Like, and I want to show people like, listen, I've made some stupid mistakes. Like we all have. And guess what? I'm still standing. Life is good. There's nothing. Like, yeah, you know what? It shouldn't have done it, but learn from me. I'll help you out. And so
I love that, Erin, because you know what? You don't build authenticity by only talking about your wins, because nobody, and I believe the two, these are, and I feel like I've said this 100 times this week alone, but they're the two biggest illusions that brands and people make. They believe that perfection is obtainable and people want it. Nobody wants perfect.
Nobody.
We like reality TV.
That all the time.
Right. Perfect. And then the second one is control. And, and I'm just like you. I posted that I went to the wrong airport this week on Monday. I went to Washington Reagan, and my flight was out of Washington Dulles. I missed my flight. I wasn't going to make it to my client meeting, so I ended up having to get on an Amtrak and 5 subways into New York to get myself up there. And I posted on Facebook that I was like, "What a long week!" And I put "missed my plane," and I got like 9 Facebook messages like, "Brian, why in the hell would you admit that you would miss you're?" And I'm like, "Well, I made it known, and that's just how I am." Like, what you're telling me, you've never screwed up. And if you only, I think that's something that I think that so many people are making a mistake where they think authenticity, and I made the same mistake early on in Twitter. I tried to tell the story what other people wanted to hear and hide some of those failures and struggles because I thought that was kind of what I wanted. But that was so much work. It was like, it was painful. And it was like, oh wait, I can just fail fast, fail easy, fail all the time, be transparent on both sides. Because I actually think it's that whole Muhammad Ali thing. It's not, what you're doing when you're on your feet. It's what you do when you get up from the canvas. I actually think it's being willing to talk about when you get knocked down that actually builds that authenticity.
No, I agree. And I think a lot, like you said, I think a lot of people are if I screwed up, nobody's going to hire me. And I don't, when somebody just is too perfect, I don't trust them.
I agree. Yeah, there you go. Look, I went to the wrong airport once, BWI instead. Well, that's what I did. I went to DCA and Reagan, and I'm looking at the board. I'm like, where the hell is my flight to New York? I'm like literally standing there with my bag on. I'm like scrolling through my
numbers match. What's going on here?
And I will admit that my return flight was to DCA, and so all I did is flipped up on my Delta app, and I saw DCA's. And I'm even looking at the thing going, DCA. I'm coming. I'm like, wait, well, that's my return trip. What's the flight? That says IAD. I was like, well, that sucks. And then I couldn't even get on another flight. But I mean, that's the transparent side. But for me, it's that piece that makes people real. And that's why I think Aaron. I mean, all three of you. I think the transparency, the authenticity, the curator talent, right? What you're really good at, and then also kind of the respect for other people that are talented, right? That are to me, that is such. If you believe that you must hold on to all your knowledge, and the only way that you stand out, or you can't support everybody else because it makes you become like the drowned rat, it's because you never have value to begin with. Because if you can't promote others and then also stand out from the noise, what you believe you are or doing wasn't good to begin with. And it's a harsh truth. And I think that's why we all can promote each other's content, share, and be so passionate about what we're doing, because we are confident enough to know that together we can be great and help each other. We also are confident enough in what we're individually doing to add to the, I don't believe anybody's a competitor. The amount of people that message me and say, Brian, why are you sharing other Periscopers' keynotes and other people's panels? Isn't that what you want? And I said, no, if you've listened to my Periscopes, I believe we together can change the world by evangelizing live streaming. And if I talk about that as a platform and I don't share other people on the platform, what the hell? Like, who the hell would I be? And I think that's kind of the old way of thinking. And I think things are changing, hopefully.
Well, and now it's like, okay, come on. It's physically impossible for Brian to do every keynote in the whole. It's like people don't understand.
Yeah, you gotta save some of these for me, Brian.
Share the love, my friend. Share the love.
Snapchat. I'm ready to roll out.
I tell you what. Stay tuned. I told you, Jay. I messaged you. I'm working now on I really believe even in the live streaming space, the play is more on teaching and educating change in everything we're doing. And I think I'm more blown away when I'm able to talk about live streaming in an industry in a space that is not mine. Because learning about, how people are using it in all these different walks of life, I believe that's the value, not even just like what's Brian Fanzo Periscope about. Cause you're not all going to be like me. You're not gonna be willing to rant and you're not gonna be willing to, but I think it's part of the reason I love Blab. I mean, I absolutely love this platform. And I loved Google Hangouts, but Google Hangouts was to me what a webinar and a conference call was: planned, strategic, old school. This is raw, real. I mean, I unfortunately kind of hijacked your guys' Blab by jumping in when I saw you three on, but like,
oh no,
part of the love. You guys are okay with that, and together we all kind of support and do a bunch of things. So it's definitely one. But on that same note, I have to run only because Mike Stelzer is doing the Social Media Examiner Blab, and he wants me to talk about Periscope's new updates. So I'm going to jump on there and talk a little bit about that side. But guys,
I understand. Thank you.
Big fans of all three of you. Truly, thank you guys for the nice, kind words and always, supporting my stuff. It means the world.
Ryan, too, be looking for an email for me too, because I want to ask you about something. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw. Yeah. I think there was something I messaged. Joel and I were messaging about something last night that I wanted to clue you in on, Aaron. So,
okay.
Cheers.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right. See you, Bryce.
Awesome. What a great show. I love this. And Jen become our unofficial third host here.
Buster's in the house. I hear him.
Oh, yeah.
But Hot Topics is that's the blab to be on, man. Hot Topics is the blab to be on.
Every Friday.
Boom.
We did summons Kajabi, but and Jed, just in case you've been like waiting at the edge of your seat, wondering what has happened, we all got in.
Oh, I could have told you that 2 weeks ago.
I know, but I know you might have been a little worried about it. We did get accepted into the beta round. It's still open.
I'm reserving a limited number of seats to my beta round of my membership group. And if you apply now, I'll review your application.
If you need to audition, you got to send in your video.
I was the dork that I was like messaging Tamsin and Holly, like, did you get your thingy to get in? And they're like, Aaron, it's coming at noon. I'm like, okay. Yeah. I remember for $9.97. Yeah. And it's great. I got to do my video. It's awesome. I'm happy.
I did my video already. So I have my initial reaction video up on YouTube. Also just released, literally right before this blab started, I sent an email out to my newsletter inviting people to register in my new Kajabi home for my new opt-in. And I'm so excited.
Cool.
Tamsin. I know Tamsin's excited. She's here too.
Tamsin is okay. So I need to do my video now too. But yes, we did get in. We were accepted. Yeah.
And that's it. So next week we'll be back talking about hot topics for online entrepreneurs. Do we want to pick a subject or just kind of see what happens throughout the week?
Unless somebody has something pressing. And Camille, we're gonna shut this puppy down. Otherwise, I'd accept you in. But yeah, babe, you got to set up the lights. We're working with some green screens upstairs. Wow. Yeah, unless somebody has anything super pressing, we can keep this conversation going too. But we can see. We'll leave it open. If anybody has anything, direct message us too.
We talk about whatever hot topic is happening in the online entrepreneurial world, whether it's autoresponders, email, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, whatever, membership sites. Who knows what we're going to be talking about? So you got to come back and check it out.
So when are we going to do the new Kajabi one? Because we're going to have to do that one too.
Anytime. I'll talk Kajabi. No, just kidding. Yeah, or we can continue Snapchat.
No, because it's probably got to be after you guys start getting something set up. Because I want to.
We're already set up.
I got set up.
Oh, so I can go click on it right now, and I'll be
yeah.
Okay. So let's post those links into the room for the 27 people that are here. They can click on your sites and check out the new.
Okay. With mine being said, mine is for the chiropractor course I do is the one and it's not 100% set up yet. So today it'll be finished, but I skipped 24 videos over. There's Holly's.
Boom.
So exciting. I literally set up two offers, two products in the last 48 hours.
And there's a free one right there.
Yeah,
there's
a free one for Holly, so jump in on that one.
It's in my price range.
Yeah, there's free, and then you can also upgrade if you want full access plus the bonuses.
Okay.
And if you upgrade during the limited time.
Oh wait, the 2016 all access video pass is only $59. That is a steal.
That's in your budget too, Jed.
Why are you doing it so cheap?
Yeah, why are you doing it so cheap?
That's a good question.
Well, the price is going to go up after the 5 days. So.
This is a limited time offer.
You should put.
So take a look at that and let me know it's clear. Because sometimes when you're looking at your own stuff, you think it's clear in your head because you're the mad genius behind it all, and then other people look at it and they go, "What is it supposed to be?" Yeah,
I would put it's listed once you click through, but I would put on the card.
There's only so much space, but go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say. Sorry.
Yeah, if you could fit it on the card, I would put on the card limited time offer. And then when you click through, underneath the headline in bold, limited time offer. It does say price goes up after November 20th, but I think it doesn't hurt you to put like right at the very, very top, limited time offer.
On which page? Because it says on the top of both the offers page, which is the main link I sent, it says 2016 Video Pass free limited time. And then when you click learn more, it says on the headline, the same thing, 2016 Video Pass free limited time.
Okay, I don't see that when I click through the Video Pass. The one on, I like how you did it on the free one. Absolutely. I just would copy the text on the free one to the paid one as well. We're troubleshooting real time.
Yeah, somebody, Real McCoy is like, are you guys going to address questions?
Okay, let's address questions. What's the question?
I thought we were doing some along the line. So,
Hi, buddy.
gift service, Fryer, or Fryer's asking gift service. Jed, you got that one?
I answered that question. Yes, you can upload your Snapchat GIF to any web hosting service, and then just post a URL to that GIF here in the comments, and it will display. And I will give you an example of that.
Scroll through my questions.
Here.
Does anybody know how to scroll through the questions? I don't know how.
Oh, on the left. Oh, no, it doesn't scroll. Great question. Buster says hi, everybody.
Hi, Buster. I'm gonna come to New York and steal Buster, just so you know.
Oh, he's my favorite.
There's the URL that I posted. You just take the EG out, and there's the URL, and that's what above it is what shows. And if you click on it, it'll get bigger. But you can just hover your phone, take your phone, open up Snapchat, and then just press the screen as you're pointing at that GIF, and it will add me.
Thanks, everybody. This is Mr. Buster, the production pitbull. He is my assistant and my 70-pound lapdog.
So somebody, Camille's asking, did Jed's question about his stand and how to present it get answered? I think we covered that. Like, I think we did. He's got to be more clear on his message, what he does exactly. And like what, I don't know so much of what he stands for, but what his business is.
Yeah, I think one of the issues is that I run this business called Likeforce. It's LIKE force.com. And it's basically a business where I hire students and train them to manage social media for companies in the area where these students live. But that's not like that. I love that business. It's a passion of mine, but I make a living selling training and doing public speaking. So the trick is I'm doing several things, 2-3 different things. And it's hard to have a clear message on, like, the most interesting thing I'm doing doesn't make me a whole lot of money. So I'm happy to talk about it. I love talking about it. I go talk to colleges and universities about it all the time. Doesn't make me a whole lot of money. So I need to focus on the training that I do. And the training is related because it's the same training I teach these students as I teach these companies. And I think that's like the core is, hey, look, your activities on social media can really get out of hand if you're not focused on meeting a goal or objective for your business. And so maybe I need to start talking a little bit more about my framework, about how I teach people these techniques, and maybe kind of put more of that content out into public domain rather than keep it all within the training courses. So we got another question come up. Some great points on Snapchat. How about some more small business centric uses for Snapchat? If you're a small business, I would not start jumping on Snapchat. It's way too early. There's a lot more things you could do and on social media that would help you grow an audience and make money. So user discovery on Snapchat is difficult and slow, and so you're not going to be able to build a big audience for your company unless your company is experience oriented, like travel or leisure. So yeah, if you're a small business and you want to experiment and have fun on Snapchat, that's great. But I would not invest time or energy or money on that right now. It's still too early. And as a disclosure, I am actually building a course for small businesses on how to use Snapchat as a marketing tool. So wait for that course, and then figure.
There you go.
Are you build that course on Kajabi?
You'll get all of that info. But the reason I'm not in a rush because it's too early. So the whole reason I'm researching this info on Snapchat right now is to try and let people know when is the right time and what are the tactics that are working for companies, what are the strategies that are working, and if you are going to get started, some actionable game plans and what types of goals are reasonable to be met. And so that's what I'm in the process of doing right now. I've got some great stories of companies I've worked with who have had great successes, but right now they're one-off accounts. There's not, I'm still working on helping companies develop repeatable processes.
Hey guys,
all right, Holly's got to jump. Yeah,
I'm going to run. But thank you guys, I really enjoy our Friday mornings together. And as always, thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you soon. I got to run. Bye.
I'm going to jump off too, but if you guys we can continue this. I know there's still a lot of questions regarding Snapchat. A lot of people want to talk. I mean, I'm more than happy to continue this a little bit more to next week too. So we always are here Friday. Take a minute. Fridays at 9:00 Central. Had to take a minute for that. I'm like, what day is it? So, but yeah, I mean, we can definitely talk more about it. Snapchat seems to definitely be the question of the week. I've seen a ton of blabs about it.
It's hot. So. Definitely hot. Definitely way too early for small businesses to spend money and time, resources on it. But now is the time to download the app, follow a few people, and get familiar with what Snapchat's all about. It is the fastest growing social platform. So important to know about, but don't start spending money, just start learning about it and getting familiar with it.
I like it. All right, Jed, as always, thank you so much. It was great seeing you. Thank you guys to everybody who jumped in, and we'll see y'all next week.